I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here, writing this out for anyone to read, but honestly, I need to get this off my chest. My name is Mike, and I've been with my wife, Lisa, for over 10 years. We have a son, Jake, who's about 17 now, and I always thought we had a pretty normal, stable life. Sure, there were little fights here and there, but nothing unusual. I trusted her completely. She was the kind of woman who seemed to have it all together, smart, confident, the perfect wife on the surface. But over the last few months, I started noticing small things that didn't add up. Lisa became more distant, snapping at me out of nowhere, canceling plans, and always finding some excuse to stay late at work or meet a client. I brushed it off as stress from her job, which she's been working harder at lately, trying to climb the corporate ladder. But I had a nagging suspicion that something was off. Still, I didn't want to come across as paranoid or insecure, so I kept my feelings to myself. Then came the subtle changes in her phone and her laptop. She started locking her devices more often, hiding her messages when I walked into the room. I'd catch her deleting texts or clearing her browsing history. It wasn't enough to make me suspicious at first, but it was enough to make me curious. I never thought she'd cheat on me. Not Lisa. She's always been the kind of woman who'd look you in the eye and lie straight to your face if it suited her. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something. One day, I decided to check her laptop when she was in the shower. It sounds invasive, I know, but I had a gut feeling. I figured if she was hiding something, I should see it for myself rather than keep torturing myself with guesses. So I quietly opened her laptop, and there it was, a string of messages with this guy named Mark, who I didn't recognize. The conversations were about strategy sessions to help Jake with his college applications. That didn't seem strange at first. Every parent wants their kid to get into good schools, right? But then I saw the tone of the messages. They started becoming more personal, more flirtatious. Flirty little jokes, teasing. Even suggestive comments. My stomach sank. I scrolled through more messages, and that's when I saw it. A recent exchange just a few days ago where she told Mark she needed a real break from my husband. That line hit me like a punch in the gut. I couldn't believe what I was reading. I felt like the world was tilting under my feet. My mind was racing, trying to process how she could lie so easily, how she could be such a bitch about it. She always told me she loved me, that I was her everything. That was a lie. I didn't confront her right away. I needed to think, I needed to plan. But part of me wanted to scream, to yell, to demand answers. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and furious. I mean, she's been lying to my face about something so huge, and for what? Just some stupid affair. It's not just sex, I realize now. It's the principle. She cheated with this guy who was helping Jake with college, helping him, but also apparently helping herself. I couldn't believe she'd do that to me, to our family, just to get some thrill, or maybe because she's bored or whatever bullshit excuse she'd try to give. And the worst part, she's so good at hiding it. The woman is a master manipulator. She's already started lying about where she was last night, saying she was working late. But I know better now. I see through her bullshit. The pieces are all there. It's all so clear, and it's tearing me apart. I never imagined I'd be in this position, caught in the middle of her lies, feeling like my marriage was a complete sham. I keep asking myself how I could have missed all the signs, how I could have been so blind. I feel like I've been hit by a freight train. Everything I thought was real, our life, her love, my trust, it's all shattered. And now I'm just sitting here trying to figure out what the hell I do next. Do I confront her? Do I pack my bags and leave? Do I fight for my marriage or just accept that it's over? The pain is overwhelming, and I don't even know what I want anymore. I just know that I can't pretend I didn't see what I saw, and I definitely can't pretend I do. Feel like the biggest fool in the world for trusting her. After I found everything on her laptop, I didn't sleep that night. I just sat there, staring at the screen, my mind racing through all the possible reasons she'd do this, all the ways she could spin it to make herself look innocent. But honestly, I wasn't buying any of her excuses. I knew Lisa. She's a bitch when she wants to be, and she's good at twisting things around so she's the victim. That's her MO, manipulate, lie, and then blame you when she gets caught. I also felt furious. Not just the kind of anger that makes your fists clench, but a deep, searing rage that came from feeling utterly betrayed. The woman I married, the woman I trusted with everything, she's been lying to me for months, sneaking around behind my back, and using our son's college application process as cover for her affair. It's disgusting. I kept asking myself how I didn't see it, how I could have been so blind. All those little things, her phone hiding, her late nights, her cold attitude, weren't just signs of stress. They were her trying to cover her tracks. The next day I knew I had to confront her. I had to hear her lie to my face, or maybe she'd finally admit the truth. Either way, I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. So I came home early from work, making sure I caught her in the act of lying if she tried. I found her in the kitchen sipping coffee like she wasn't hiding a goddamn affair from me. I just looked at her and she saw the look in my eyes, the expression that said I knew everything. "Lisa," I started, voice tight, "we need to talk." She looked up, all fake innocent, like she had no idea what I was about to say. "What's going on? Who's Mark?" She froze for a split second, then plastered on that bitchy, dismissive smile. "What are you talking about? You're imagining things, Mike. I don't know what you're talking about." Her voice was forced, but she kept her composure, at least on the surface. Inside, I could see her panicking, her eyes darting around like a criminal caught in the act. "Don't bullshit me, Lisa. I saw the messages. The ones where you said you needed a break from me. The one where you said you're sleeping with Mark. How long has this been going on?" She scoffed, rolling her eyes. "Oh, so now I'm a liar too? I've told you I was working late. You always jump to conclusions, Mike. You're paranoid. Honestly, I don't know what you want from me." She crossed her arms, acting like she was the victim. It made me sick. The way she lied so effortlessly, like she had a script prepared. I felt like I was losing my mind. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to make her admit the truth. But I also knew I had to stay calm, at least for now. I asked her again, more firmly, "Are you sleeping with him? Yes or no?" She hesitated, then snapped back, "You're crazy. I don't have time for your accusations. I've been stressed, that's all. Maybe you should look at yourself before pointing fingers." That was her favorite line lately, deflect and blame me. It's her way of avoiding responsibility, twisting everything so I look like the bad guy. By this point, I was furious. I felt an ache deep in my chest, like someone was stabbing me with a knife. How could she do this? How could she lie so blatantly, so openly, and then turn it around on me like I was the one at fault? She's always been a master of manipulation. I started to realize that this wasn't just a fling. It was something bigger, something she'd planned. She knew exactly what she was doing, the lies, the cover-ups, the fake tears. I didn't want to just walk away right then. I needed to see how far she'd go, how deep her lies ran. I decided I'd dig into her phone, her emails, anything I could find. I wanted to know everything. This betrayal wasn't just about the sex, it was about the trust, the respect we once had, and how easily she dismantled it all. That night I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, the lies, the messages, her bitchy tone when she was trying to gaslight me. I felt like I was drowning. I kept asking myself how I let it get this far, how I didn't see the warning signs. I realized I'd been so caught up in our routine, so blinded by her charm and lies, that I didn't want to see the truth staring right at me. Now I wish I could go back, but all I can do is deal with what's in front of me. Honestly, I don't know what I'll do next. Part of me wants to tear everything apart, confront her again, maybe even throw her out. But another part, the weaker part, just wants to crawl into a hole and hide from it all. I never thought I'd be the guy writing these words, but here I am, betrayed, heartbroken, angry, and trying to figure out whether there's any way back from this. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a train. My head was pounding, and the weight of everything I'd uncovered was pressing down hard on my chest. I knew I had to get some space from her, so I decided to go for a walk and clear my head. I needed to think about what the hell I was going to do. Part of me wanted to confront her again, to demand she come clean. But I also knew that would probably just turn into a screaming match, something I wasn't ready for yet. As I stepped outside, I couldn't help but replay everything in my mind, how she had lied so easily, so convincingly. Lisa has always been a good liar when it suited her, bitchy and manipulative, yes, but she knew how to hide her tracks. I kept thinking about the messages, how she told Mark she needed a break from me, how she joked about what a boring husband I was. It made me feel sick. How did I not see this coming? How did I let her pull the wool over my eyes for so long? The walk helped a little, but the anger was still simmering beneath the surface. I kept asking myself, what if she's been doing this for months? What if this isn't just a one-time thing? The thought that she'd been sneaking around behind my back, lying to me about everything, made me want to scream. I felt betrayed on every level, emotionally, physically, and morally. This wasn't just infidelity. It was a complete dismantling of what I thought our marriage was. While walking, I decided I'd gather all the evidence I could before I confronted her again. I wanted to be prepared to know exactly how much she'd lied and how deep her deception ran. I also knew I needed to stay calm, at least on the surface, so I could get through this without losing my mind completely. I wasn't planning to blow up just yet, but I wanted to be ready for whatever she threw at me. When I got back home, I decided to check her email accounts and her phone. I felt like a damn detective, but I knew I had no choice. I sat there, sweating, fingers trembling as I opened her email account. I found more stuff, messages from Mark, some recent, some from a few months ago. They were all about college applications, but lurking underneath was a pattern of flirtation, of secret plans. They talked about meeting up, about sneaking away for strategy sessions, which I now knew were just cover stories for their affair. The email thread was full of her lying, saying she was busy with work, that she was stressed, and then suddenly she'd slip in a message saying she needed a break from her boring husband. I felt sick just reading it. Every word felt like a punch to the gut. I couldn't believe I'd been so naive, so blind. I'd always thought Lisa was just a little bitchy sometimes, but this was something else entirely. This was a full-blown betrayal. I kept digging and I found her text messages on her phone. There were dozens of them, flirty, suggestive, full of the kind of things you don't say to someone you're just helping with college essays. It was obvious she'd been lying all along. She told me she was tired, working late, stressed out. Meanwhile, she was out screwing around with some guy who was supposed to be helping Jake. That's when I finally realized how deep her deception went. This wasn't just a mistake. It was a calculated betrayal. The worst part is, she's so damn good at hiding her tracks. She's always been manipulative, playing the victim when she gets caught. I remember her bitchy eyes when she was arguing with me about the smallest thing, how she always had a way of twisting everything so she looked innocent. Now it all makes sense. She's been lying to me for months, hiding her affair, and I was none the wiser. I feel like such a fool for trusting her, for thinking she loved me. I also found out that she's been meeting Mark regularly, probably at some hotel or her friend's house. The messages talked about cover stories if I ever found out, how she'd deny everything, cry, or blame me for being insecure. That kind of sneaky, bitchy manipulation is exactly who she is. She's always been good at pretending everything's fine while secretly doing whatever she wants behind my back. Now I'm sitting here trying to hold myself together. Part of me wants to explode the minute she gets home. Part of me just wants to walk out and never look back. But I know I need to be smart about this. I need to think about what I want, what's best for me and Jake. I keep telling myself I deserve better than this, but damn, it hurts so much. I never wanted to be this guy, the guy who catches his wife cheating and feels like his entire world is crumbling. The only thing I know for sure is that I can't keep pretending everything's okay. I've been stupid enough to give her the benefit of the doubt, but now I see her for what she really is, a lying, manipulative bitch who's been screwing me over. And I don't know how I'm going to fix this, or if I even want to. All I know is that I've got to face her tonight and finally get some answers, or maybe just start planning what comes next. That night, I didn't sleep. I stayed up, pacing around the living room, trying to figure out how I was going to handle her when she got home. I knew she'd try her usual tricks, lying, gaslighting, acting innocent, and I wasn't sure I had the strength for it. Every time I thought about confronting her, my stomach twisted, and I felt that deep, burning rage simmering just beneath the surface. I kept telling myself I needed to stay calm, be in control, but honestly I wasn't sure I could. When she finally walked through the door, I could see it in her eyes. She was trying to act like everything was normal. That bitchy smirk she always uses when she's about to lie her way out of something. I looked at her and just said, "We need to talk." Her smile faltered for a split second, but she quickly recovered, putting on that fake, innocent face. "What's wrong, Mike?" she asked, trying to sound casual as if she had no idea what was coming. "Don't play dumb," I shot back. "I saw the messages. I know what you've been doing. You've been cheating on me with Mark. How long has this been going on?" Her eyes widened a little, but she quickly masked it with that bitchy sneer. "What are you talking about? I haven't been cheating. You're just paranoid. I've been working late, that's all." I shook my head, feeling the blood boil in my veins. "Stop lying. I found your emails, your texts. You told him you needed a break from your boring husband. You're out screwing him while pretending to be the perfect wife. How long has this been going on?" She scoffed, crossing her arms. "You're overreacting. You always jump to conclusions. Maybe you're the one who's insecure." Her voice was icy and she looked at me like I was crazy, but I saw right through her. I knew her game now. "Don't lie to me," I said, voice trembling with anger. "I've seen everything. The messages, the calls. You've been lying from day one. How could you do this to me, to our family?" She looked at me with a mixture of contempt and disdain. "You don't get to accuse me of anything. I'm not the bad guy here. You're just jealous or some insecure mess. You always make everything about yourself." That was the breaking point. My fists clenched and I felt my voice rising. "No, Lisa, you're the one who's been lying. You've been screwing around and I want to hear you say it. Are you sleeping with Mark?" She hesitated just a second too long, then snapped, "I don't owe you an explanation. I'm done with this conversation." She started to walk past me, trying to brush it off like she hadn't just been caught cheating. I blocked her path. "Tell me the truth," I demanded. "Are you sleeping with him? Yes or no?" She looked at me with pure contempt, then spat out, "Yeah, I've been seeing him. So what? It's none of your business." That hit me like a punch to the gut. She admitted it so casually, like it was nothing. All those years, the trust, the love, the sacrifices, and she just tosses it aside like it's garbage. I felt like I was in some nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I stood there, stunned, trying to process what she just said. Part of me wanted to break down, cry, scream, destroy everything. But I also knew I had to be strong. I told her, "You're a cheating, lying bitch. I want you out of this house. Don't come back." She just looked at me, her bitchy smile returning. "Fine, do whatever you want. Like I care." And that's what she did. She packed a bag and left that night, walking out the door like she didn't give a damn. I watched her go, feeling every ounce of my world crashing down. My stomach was twisted, my mind spinning. I was angry, hurt, humiliated. All those years I thought we had something real and it was just a lie. I kept thinking about her sneaking around, hiding her affair, lying to my face every chance she got. I felt the emptiness settle in. The house felt colder, quieter. I knew things wouldn't be the same after that night. I was left with this gnawing question: how did I not see this coming? How could I have been so stupid, so blind? I had trusted her, loved her, and she'd thrown it all away for some cheap thrill with Mark. The betrayal was complete, and I was left to pick up the pieces of my shattered life. Now, I still wonder if I made the right call sending her out. Part of me wants to chase after her, demand she come back and fix this. But another part knows she's done enough damage. The pain's raw, and I don't even know if I can trust myself to make the right decision. All I know is that I have to figure out what comes next, whether I fight for my marriage or finally accept that it's over. And that realization, it's probably the hardest thing I've ever faced. The days that followed were a blur of anger, sadness, and confusion. Every time I looked around the house, I felt this gnawing ache deep in my chest. It was strange how suddenly everything changed, how quiet and empty it all felt without her bitchy voice or her sneering attitude. I kept replaying everything in my head, trying to find where it all went wrong. How did I miss the signs? How did she manage to hide this for so long? I'll admit, part of me wanted to reach out to her, to demand she come back and explain herself. But I also knew that if I did, I'd just get more lies, more bullshit. She's so good at manipulating, I'd probably end up worse off than I was now. So I kept my distance, focusing instead on trying to keep my composure and figure out what the hell I was going to do next. I started talking to a few close friends, trying to get some perspective. One of them, Dave, told me to think about my own self-respect, to remember that I deserve better than a wife who cheats behind my back. That hit hard. I'd always been a confident, straightforward guy, worked hard, loved my family, believed in honesty. And now, I just felt like a complete failure, like I'd been played for a fool. Some nights I couldn't sleep. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Lisa's bitchy smirk when she told me she was just stressed or busy. How she lied to my face over and over again. It made me sick. It's like I was living with a stranger, someone who's good at pretending to be your wife but in reality was just a manipulative bitch hiding her affair. One evening, I decided I had to get some clarity. I needed to know how deep her lies went, and if I could even trust her if she ever decided to come back. So I looked through her phone again, more messages, more proof that she'd been screwing around for months. There were texts from Mark about their secret meetings, about cover stories if I ever found out. It's like she'd prepared for this moment, ready to deny everything. What really set me off was the tone of the messages. She was so bitchy and dismissive, talking about how boring I was, how she needed more excitement, and how Mark was the only one who made her feel alive. It was all right there, her true feelings, her contempt for me. And I realized she'd been planning this for a while, maybe even before I ever suspected. That realization made my blood boil. I also found out she'd been meeting Mark at some hotel, some place I never knew about. They'd been sneaking around like a couple of teenagers, and the whole time I thought we had a good marriage. I felt so stupid, so naive. She'd been lying to me, pretending everything was fine while she was out fucking another man. The image of her bitchy, fake smile when she'd tell me she was just stressed made me want to vomit. I started questioning everything, myself, our marriage, my trust in people. How could someone I loved turn into such a manipulative, selfish bitch? Did I ignore the signs? Was I blind? Or was she just that good at pretending? I don't have the answers, only this deep sense of betrayal that eats away at me every day. I think about the good times we had, and then I remember all the lies, all the sneaky meetings, all the times she dismissed my feelings just to do what she wanted. I've been trying to stay strong, but honestly, I feel broken. Every night I go to bed alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering if she ever really loved me or if I was just some fool she used. I keep telling myself I deserve better, better than her bitchy, manipulative ass. But the truth is I feel lost, like I don't even know who I am anymore. I trusted her for so long, and now I realize that trust was just a lie too. Now I sit here, writing this, trying to make sense of it all. I don't know if I want her back or if I should just cut my losses and move on. Part of me wants to fight for my marriage, to make her see what she's lost. But another part knows she's already gone, and trying to save it might just be a waste. I wish I had some clear advice or a magic answer. All I know is that living with this betrayal hurts so badly, and I don't think I'll ever forget what I found out. My biggest fear now is that she'll try to come back, to manipulate her way into my life again, and I don't know if I have the strength to resist that. After a couple of weeks, I finally decided I needed closure. Not just to get her out of my mind, but to truly move on. I knew I couldn't keep living in this limbo, waiting for her to come back or for some miracle to happen. I sat her down one evening when she came over to pick up a few things from the house, her bitchy attitude still intact, like she expected everything to go back to normal. I looked her straight in the eyes and told her I knew about everything. I told her I'd read her emails, her texts, seen her meetings, and I wasn't stupid anymore. I told her she'd torn apart everything we'd built, that she'd lied to me and our son, and that I couldn't trust her anymore. Her face twisted into a smirk, that same bitchy smirk she always used when she thought she'd won some argument. I saw right through it. She tried to deny it all, of course. Said I was jealous, insecure, that Mark wasn't anything serious, just a business associate. But I cut her off. I told her I'd had enough. I told her she was a manipulative, selfish woman who only cared about herself. I told her she'd broken me, and I'd never forgive her for what she did. I made it clear she wasn't welcome in my life anymore, at least not as my wife. Honestly, after that, I felt a huge weight lift. I realized I'd been living in a nightmare, but now I was finally waking up. I started seeing a therapist, working on myself, trying to understand how I got here, how I let her do this to me. It wasn't easy. I still felt the pain, the anger, the betrayal. But I also felt a strange sense of relief, like I'd finally taken control. I was reclaiming my life. In the weeks that followed, I focused on my son, Jake. We talked more, and I made sure he knew I was there for him, no matter what. I didn't want him to think I was falling apart, even though inside I was a mess. I wanted him to see that even when life throws you the worst shit, you can still pick yourself up and keep going. That's what I forced myself to do. Looking back, I learned some hard lessons. Trust is fragile. People can hide who they really are behind a fake smile or a kind word. And sometimes you have to face the ugly truth, no matter how painful it is. I'm not perfect and I'm still healing. I don't have some fairy tale ending, but I do have a harder shell now, a clearer understanding of what I deserve, and it's not betrayal, lies, or manipulation. To anyone out there going through something similar, I'll say this: don't ignore the signs. Don't convince yourself it's just stress or a rough patch. If you feel something off, dig deeper. And if you find out your partner has been lying and cheating, don't hesitate to take control of your life. It hurts, but it's better than living a lie. Trust your gut. You deserve honesty and respect, not some bitchy manipulator who's only out for herself. Most importantly, take care of yourself. Heal. Grow stronger. Because in the end, betrayal like this isn't the end of your story. It's just a hard chapter, and you've got the power to write the next one on your own terms.